Jamie Komoroski was recently sentenced for taking the life of the bride, Samantha, on her wedding night. I don't think Jamie was ready for the sentence that was handed down to her, and we're going to talk about it in today's video. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Sofa's back there. I'm right here. The boys are actually at their first grooming appointment. My name's Paul if you're new to the channel. If you're not new to the channel, my name still is Paul. I hope everybody's doing well today. Before we get started, I do like to remind everybody that I ain't no doctor, I ain't no lawyer, I ain't no therapist, I ain't no cop, ain't none of that fancy credentialed stuff. Okay, I'm just a guy with some sass and a sofa, and that's it. So these are just my opinions on very public information. I encourage you to do your own research, come to your own conclusions and opinions, and well, kindly share them down in the comment section below. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is this absolutely heartbreaking, tragic case, okay? Let's go over like a 60-second little overview to get everybody on the same page. So Jamie Komoroski went out for a date of drinking while at the same time in like an alternate timeline, there was a newlywed couple, a couple getting married, literally, Eric and Samantha. They were very excited. This was their day, right? So they get married, they do all their things. They are headed home later that night on a golf cart. They are being driven by one of their family members. There's like 3 or 4 people in this golf cart. They're going, well, this is when the two worlds literally collide. Jamie had been out drinking all day long. She's going 60 plus miles an hour down one of these very small little beachy neighborhoods in Folly Beach, South Carolina. She will literally run over this golf cart at full speed, okay? Sadly, Samantha will lose her life almost instantly, right? Now, her husband, Eric, he would live, but he is majorly messed up from this, okay? Like lots of surgeries, all this kind of stuff. And we'll hear from him in a little bit about not only the physical situations he's gone through, but the continued mental situations. Other people were injured on the golf cart as well. Now, Jamie would obviously be arrested. Her blood alcohol level was like, I think 3 times the limit. She gets arrested. We hear some very horrible stuff, okay, coming from her jailhouse phone calls. We'll look at them. She will eventually get bail. She gets out, and then she comes to get sentenced, okay? Now, she was leaving house arrest, and we'll hear a little bit about that as well. Now, obviously, her day in court comes, right? She goes before the court. She throws herself at the judge. So, like, instead of going to trial, whatever, and I think she probably knew the evidence is so damning, you're going to be found guilty. So she threw herself at the court, and the court really wasn't here to hear her sob story. Now that's like a little 60-second overview there. So what I want to do now is get a little bit deeper into some of the context. Now, one thing you're going to need to remember is one of the very damning things that came out about this is all of the jailhouse phone calls that were coming out. And what I mean by jailhouse phone calls are literal phone calls, but also video calls of Jamie talking to family members, people like, you know, her boyfriend, her father, numerous people about the case. And the public was shocked to hear not only what was coming out of her mouth, but just how the family interacted with her and the lack of accountability. Let's go ahead and just look at a quick little montage of those.
I don't want to go to prison for 15 years. I'm just scared, Dad. I don't want to go away for so long.
We're doing everything we can.
I still just don't know why this had to happen to me.
Because bad things happen to good people, honey.
Ouch. Okay. The public's mouths were on the ground over this, okay? Now, remember, during this, like I said before, her blood alcohol level was like 3 times the limit. The streets they were going down, meaning everybody involved here, okay? If you're familiar with like the way beaches are in North Carolina and South Carolina, these places, a lot of beach towns, but especially here, this is what I grew up with. These are very small streets with clusters of neighborhoods, house on top of houses. Even 25 miles an hour, which is usually the speed limit, feels too fast, okay? And that's during broad daylight. I was just there visiting my mom and my stepfather, and I was riding down the streets and I was thinking about them, Samantha and Eric and whatnot, and I was like, I can't imagine. I was like, and this is broad daylight where I was going less than 25. I was like, I can't imagine going 65 miles per hour down this road at nighttime. So if you know, if you've been to these areas, you're just like, oh, what? She was going that fast. Now, let's go ahead and move over to the courtroom, okay? Now, as I said earlier, we would hear some very emotional victim impact statements and whatnot. What I want to do is just listen to a couple little snippets. First from Eric, okay, her husband, and then from her biological father. So let's start off with Eric and see what he had to say. Now, he would speak through tears as he recounted this entire evening, y'all. It was absolutely heartbreaking. So he would say that every day he is in pain all over his body. His life is nothing but doctor, psychiatrist, therapist. Like, that's what his existence feels like to him. Now, he said when he woke up in the hospital after that evening, like, all he knew is he was like leaving the wedding and then he's waking up in the hospital. His mom's still in the outfit that she had on at the wedding. And he said, I knew instantly. And he was like, I asked for Samantha, but I knew. Now, he would also talk about his survivor's guilt, and he would talk about how excited she was to have children. Now, he would also reveal the last words that Sam said to him before that impact.
I think about that night every single day. In the last moments I had with Sam on the golf cart. She told me she didn't want the night to end. And I kissed her on the forehead. And then the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital.
Gosh. I mean, can you imagine? God bless. So terrible. What a tragic, tragic end to a very short life. Now, Samantha's biological father would also speak. He would say he was her bio dad, and he would say, you know what, I wasn't really there for her a lot during the first part of her life, but the last 20 years, I was there when she needed him. He would also reveal something from his past that just the ironicness of it that would show a strong personal connection to this type of tragedy for a second time in his life.
When I was 2 years old, I got hit by a car, left on the side of the road for dead. I survived. Everybody says they think the person was drunk. It was a hit and run, they never found the person. So every day I woke up for 57 years and hated this person. Hated every day. I'd wake up and hate somebody I didn't even know.
Such powerful words. Now, he would go on to say how many lives Jamie ruined, how she took no responsibility for what she's done. He really put into words and emotion the anger that even like the general public felt, okay? People that weren't even like, say, tied to the case in the way of like being related or knowing them personally and whatnot.
You took such a beautiful person of mine. She was loved by so many. I didn't realize how many people over the past year and a half I've heard from people that actually hate you.
Now, he would also talk about how, like, months before Samantha's death, like, he had this, like, talk with himself of, like, you've got to let go of this personal hatred, like, towards this invisible person that did this to him when he was a child and whatnot. And he was really coming to terms with this, and then this happened, right? And it brought it all back. Now, here's the other thing. The words, the way that this man is talking, I mean, it gives me goosebumps and my eyes twitching over here. Okay, he just really put this emotional testimony out there and left off on a very powerful note.
For the rest of my life, I'm gonna hate you. And when I arrive in hell and you come there, I'll open the door for you.
Wow, can you imagine? Whew. I mean, what do you say to that, right? Nothing. There's nothing you can say. Now, Samantha's family wasn't the only one who got up there and spoke. Jamie would get up there, she would talk, she would address the court as well as the victims. This was really the first time that we've ever seen any kind of like remorse or apology or anything like that. Now, she would get up there and she would start off, my name's Jamie, this is the night that this happened. I made this decision to drink and drive. It resulted in these deaths, all the things, right? And she said it was the worst decision that she has ever made in her life.
First and foremost, I want to address all the victims of the accident I caused and how truly and deeply sorry I am.
Now, she'll also acknowledge, like, look, you know what? I get my apology. It's basically meaningless, right? Sam's life is gone. It's not going to bring her back. She'll go on to talk about the immense regret that she's going to live with the rest of her life. And she'll also offer apologies like the first responders, police, and the community.
I take full responsibility for the tragic outcome that my decisions have made. I will carry this guilt with me for the rest of my life.
Now she'll state that, you know what, even if you're a good person with good intentions and whatever, and you don't want to harm people, that if you're living a certain way or not being accountable, not being responsible, that you can and will hurt people.
I would like to make it clear that whatever my punishment is, I will use the time to better myself, spread awareness about the dangers of drinking and driving, continue to help others with addictions through AA, work every day to improve myself, to give maximum service to the community and my fellows.
Now she'll go on to say that she wants to make these changes through like intense work in AA, you know, looking at her own experience with abusing alcohol, helping others overcome their own issues, their own problems before a tragedy such as this strikes. She also wants to get a master's degree in like some form of like animal therapy to help people overcome addictions and things of this nature. She says that she also wants to share her story, to put it out there to avoid this happening to others.
I want the last thing that I say to be that from the very bottom of my heart, with every fiber in my being, how sorry I am, and that I take full responsibility for my actions. Hopefully one day you will be able to forgive me, but I know forgiveness must be earned.
These are very powerful words coming from her, but they didn't seem to sway the judge.
The offense of reckless driving, reckless homicide, which is 2023 GS 103895, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 10 years and $5,000, provided upon the service of 10 years.
So for that first charge there, she's getting 10 years plus that $5,000 fine. Now remember, if you followed this case, you'll remember that, you know, some of her things were, I don't want to go away for 15 years. I don't want to do this or that. So here we are. Let's get to that second charge.
On both counts of felony DUI, great bodily injury, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 15 years and $5,100, provided upon the service of 15 years.
So second charge, 15 years. So there's that number, 15. Now she doesn't seem to be flinching at these so far. Remember, during this moment, she doesn't know if these are consecutive or concurrent or whatever. But let's get to the last charge. Now pay attention to Jamie's face.
And on the offense of felony DUI with death, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 25 years and $10,100, provided upon the service of 25 years. These sentences are concurrent with one another. You'll get credit pursuant to 241340 if that becomes applicable.
Now, Jamie will go on to look completely baffled over this, and like you saw her turn to her attorney where, you know, it was like, oh, what? Like, I don't think she was expecting that. Now, they would allow her time served for both her jail time as well as her home confinement, which honestly isn't really that much. So let's recap the sentence real quick. So we have 25 years in the charge of felony driving under the influence that resulted in Samantha's death. That comes with the $10,100 fine. We have 15 years for the 2 counts of felony driving under the influence that resulted in great bodily injury. There's a $5,100 fine for that. Then 10 years on the charge of reckless homicide, and there's a $5,000 charge for that. Now, here's the thing. Keep in mind, she did these concurrent. If she had so much as said consecutive, Jamie's life would be over too, right? So at this point, Jamie's looking at 25 years, okay? Now, obviously, there's going to be, you know, good time served, all this type stuff, right? Jamie is, I believe, 27 right now, like somewhere in that range or whatever. So she will walk out of prison one day, okay? She will be older. A lifetime would have gone by. You know, she took that choice away from Samantha. Samantha will never have that. She took that away from Eric. She took that away from the mother. She took it away from the father. Lots of people. Eric will probably still be dealing with health issues from the event, right? Both mentally and physically, okay? The tragic part of this, there's multiple layers of tragedy. It gives me goosebumps. Number one, the story in general, okay? Your bride dies on her date, but groom lives, and he said in his thing, we all should have died. I don't know why we didn't. I mean, y'all, she hit this golf cart going 65. Jamie was obviously an immature young person who didn't really have much respect, probably for herself as well as others. You know, the phone calls that we saw coming out, talking to her dad, you could see a lot of enabling behavior going on and whatnot. You know, take away her actions and what she did on their side, meaning her and her father, her family, they are losing their daughter as well, right? Now they'll have the chance to see her and talk to her. They are fortunate enough to have that, which the other family does not. You know, hearing Jamie talk here, do I believe the words that she's saying? No, but in this context, they are a far cry different from what we saw of her complaining about, you know, I don't want 15 years. I want to plan my own wedding. My life is over. I get, no matter what's happened, you're going to be feeling that. You're a human being too. I get it, right? Doesn't mean, right, I agree with it or whatever. She's starting to slightly understand it a little bit here of, I've done something. It will take her a very long time for it to probably sink in the gravity of what she stole from this family over a stupid day of drinking, right? And driving. Literally. A mistake that shattered numerous lives and will continue to do so. And so including her own life is shattered, right? Look at these charges that she's going to have. She's going to walk out of prison, a grown woman, way beyond the years of having her. I mean, she could still get out and like get married and have a family or whatever she wants to do, right? She still has that option. But nonetheless, multiple people's lives are destroyed at this poor choice. And so that is unfortunate. And again, at the center of it is the loss of Samantha. Literally, this is one of the more tragic stories that I've heard of in a very long time. I cannot imagine waking up in the hospital and being told your bride is dead. Your mom's still in the outfit she had on at the wedding. I mean, literally hours after that footage we saw of them on the beach, this is what happened. It's gut-wrenching. So, you know, we'll see. I imagine we'll hear from her again, you know, throughout the years. I mean, obviously, right? And like I said, this is going to be a case right here. If this is somebody who will get out, even if she has to serve every bit of her time, she'll get out. And this is where the rehabilitation process of incarceration needs to be in play here, so that when she gets out, she'll understand the gravity of what happened. And I hope she sticks to her words, first and foremost, of realizing, hey, maybe I had an issue. I'm going to overcome it by ABC, whatever, right? Before she goes on to do other things. So yeah, my heart goes out to Samantha, her family. I think it was very brave of all of them to get up and say the things that they did. So that's it. I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, if you could, drop some sofas off for myself, Rosco and Spirit. The boys who are off at the groomers right now. So I'll have a place to hang out in the comment section with the Sofa Squad, talk about this case and all the other ones we do talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we meander our way down there to do so, I'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Rosco on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.